Hi guys, this is me, Theluchamediageek, reviewing for the Cigarette Burns again. Of course, we're all doing the Romero epic Dead saga, and we've hit the second volume, which is Dawn of the Dead. This is the Blu-ray edition. Tough film for me to review this one because, hell, if no one's seen a zombie film, even the most casual movie fan has normally seen at least two zombie movies, those of course being Dawn of the Dead and 28 Days Later. It is the iconic movie. If Night of the Living Dead, which we reviewed earlier, started the zombie apocalypse genre, then Dawn of the Dead fully formed it or perfected it, depending on how you want to look at it. Just want to say it's a film of the 70s, so one of the quintessential 70s movies, so I'm in my 70s shirt, guys. Disco, disco. But, in all seriousness, on to the movie. The plot, simple. Bunch of survivors, where they were seconded in a house in Night of the Living Dead. They flee and escape to a supermarket in Dawn of the Dead. You all know this. You've seen the other people's reviews. Now, I'm going to kill a bit of a sacred cow on this one. I do like Dawn of the Dead, I do. I think it's a fantastically crafted piece of film, not just for the zombie genre, for filmmaking in general. But I do have problems with it. But first I want to talk about, of course, the things that you've got to love about the movie. And there are so many. One of the things that I respect about the movie is its sense of scale. Now to appreciate this, you've got to compare it to its predecessor, Night of the Living Dead. I understand that Night of the Living Dead was made on a very low budget, so of course in showing a zombie apocalypse they can only show really segments on TV, interviews, to give you a wider sense of what's happening in the world. And whilst this is quite effective, Dawn of the Dead is more successful in creating the impression that this is happening to the whole world. In fact, to be honest, I think that it is one of the most successful to actually do this. You know, give you the sense that this is global, this is happening, and the world is kind of screwed. I really respect the way Romero does this, and this is successful in twofold. When you watch the movie, there's no exposition. There's no leading you into this. It's bang, you're in. It has a very short opening credit sequence, and you're straight into the narrative. You start, of course, at the TV station, which shows that the world is collapsing. Initially, for those of you who, you know, for the first time seeing this movie, you'd be kind of confused, I suppose. What's going on? Why is everything falling apart? The fact that it's zombies, even though it's of course explained in the interview, you know, you've got to just kill your relatives, don't let them get up and walk around. You don't really see what's happening until the SWAT team sequence when they go into the abandoned building. Sorry, not the abandoned building, the tenement building, and begin to eliminate the zombies that are there. As Civilian Snowman said in his review, this is a fantastic sequence. It really shows how things are falling apart, and this for me is one of Romero's strengths in the movie. He has the guts to say things are going to fall apart. To quote William Butler Yeats, to be all pretentious, the centre will not hold and the beast is loosed upon the world. Things aren't gonna be okay. If zombies are around, you're not gonna have your TV talent shows and your dollar pizza. Things are going to fall apart pretty quickly. And the way he represents that is, of course, in his four principal characters. Of course, you have the two policemen, Peter, and I can't remember the name of the other SWAT team member. He's just not as memorable. The white one, basically. And then, of course, you have Fran and Stephen. Stephen, of course, is the guy who flies the helicopter, which gets them out of the situation and gives them access to the supermarket. And then you have Fran, his girlfriend. And this leads me to the other thing. Terrible vocabulary. The other aspect of the movie, which I think is particularly strong, and goes back to a theme which Romero, I think, goes through in all his films, which is the issue of power. and how power in character interaction heightens and lessens as the film progresses. For example, initially the power goes to the character of Stephen because he has the ability to fly the helicopter and therefore provide escape. But there's also the fact that Peter and the other SWAT team member have power because they have guns and the ability to defend themselves. Fran, and to be honest, I find this a problem with a lot of Romero's early work. The female character Fran doesn't really seem to have a clearly defined role. Her job, at least at the beginning of the movie, just seems to be to bitch at Stephen. Of course, this is dealt with later in the film, and that's something I'll get into.